Senator Angus King spoke with the nominee to serve as Deputy Undersecretary of Defense for Personnel and his readiness on his commitment to maintain focus on military blast trauma. Senator King expressed the importance of mental health, specifically mentioning the 2023 mass shooting in Lewiston that claimed 18 lives. Reports show that the shooter showed evidence of severe traumatic brain injury. Gunman, an Army reservist, worked as an instructor at a hand grenade training range and was exposed to low-level blasts. Today, King pressed nominee Sean O'Keefe on his commitment to better understand the impact that the blasts have on servicemen and women.
This is, as you know, one of the most serious problems coming out of the Mideast wars is the effects of continuous exposure to blast overpressure.
Yes, Senator, you absolutely have my commitment. As you know, we did quite a lot of work on this in last year's NDAA. A lot of that legislation will take effect over the next year or so. If confirmed, I look forward to implementing that legislation and working with this committee. We're learning more and more about this area every day, it seems, and it's affecting more people than perhaps we first thought. So, absolutely, you have my commitment that this is a priority.
According to the Department of Defense's website, between 2000 and 2022, almost 459,000 service members were diagnosed with traumatic brain injury.